Hey, so have you heard about this brand new 675cc triple motorcycle that just got released? No, what's going on with it? Okay, so this thing's really cool. It's $8,000. It makes 95 horsepower, 52 foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs in at just over 400 pounds. It's got fully adjustable suspension, great brakes, and it looks really sweet. Oh damn, that's awesome. Who makes it? This is the coolest part. It's a brand new CFMOTO. This video is brought to you by Flying Eyes, makers of the best sunglasses for motorcyclists. Their frames are tough enough to keep up with all the abuse I can dish out, yet flexible enough to be comfortable for an all-day ride. Click that link down below and get 10% off your order with code SC10. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, and today we've got some fun news from CFMOTO that is certainly not going to make anybody in the comments section angry. And I've actually done my due diligence here, made an entire page of notes because this is actually a really cool update that they've done. So I'm a little bit late to the game with this one because I was actually on vacation for the first time in like 5 years last week, and CFMOTO went ahead and dropped an entire new model year 2025 lineup. Now I have to say there is some stuff that's in here that we knew already, but there's also some very cool stuff that had been hinted at and rumored about for a long time. So we could talk and preamble about this all morning, but let's dive right into the cool stuff. And we're gonna start with the bike that I am the most excited about, surprisingly, and that is the 675SS. This is a motorcycle that we knew about from a while back. It had that like wild kind of CFMOTO livery that they were using for testing because they never actually show you what it's actually gonna look like. But this bike is their all new triple. It's got a 675cc inline triple, which sounds an awful lot like a certain Triumph from back in the day. However, this bike is making 95 horsepower and 52-ish foot-pounds of torque while weighing in at 408 pounds. Now, obviously this bike has some really awesome specs, but the price is not as bad as you'd expect. It is $8,000, guys, brand new. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay some dealer fees and so forth and so on, but it's an $8,000 inline 3 triple that people are going to love because apparently the triple is one of the most beloved power plants for some reason. The only thing that I don't see is rider modes. It's got fully adjustable suspension. It's got these awesome looks because it's got the winglets and so forth. It even has like brake cooling covers, which, let's be real, that stuff is just styling on a motorcycle like this. Yes, if you're on a leader bike pushing 240 horsepower going down the back straight at Coda, you probably want some winglets to help keep that front wheel down and keep you stable. A 675cc bike weighing 408 pounds and making 95 horsepower is not going to effectively be able to use the winglets. They're just about looking cool. Same thing with the brake cooling vents. It's got J1 brakes, it's got adjustable traction control, it's got ABS, it has a cable throttle. That's honestly really cool to me because it makes it one of the only analog super sports. We'll call it semi-analog. The throttle's 100% analog, but everything else, yeah, it's got some modern tidbits and stuff on there. To be able to get that kind of bike, you kind of have to look back in the day. You have to look at something in the used market, especially for that price point. So let's compare it to something that I have a lot of experience with, my CBR 600 F4i, which is an inline 4 putting down about 110 horsepower at 12,500-ish RPM, which is a little bit higher. The SS is gonna make its 95 horsepower at 11,000 RPM, so it's a little bit sooner, as you would expect with most triples. Same with the torque. In fact, this one is producing more torque than my CBR. It's also like 15 pounds lighter, so that's a really nice feature. Now, some modern competition for this, there's really only one, and that is the Aprilia RS 660. And this has been like the gold standard of 650-ish super sports, something that's usable on the street with enough power for you to have fun. And in fact, RideSmart, the local track day organization here in Texas, has a fleet of RS660s that they're renting out. It's a very, very popular track day bike. It's making 100 horsepower, 50-ish foot-pounds of torque, and it weighs in at 404 pounds, which honestly puts it right in line with the 675 SS. The big difference is that the RS660 costs $11,549, and you can get the Extrema for, I think it's like $13,500. This is a motorcycle I am very, very excited for, because the more I've gotten into riding on a racetrack, the more I've enjoyed seeing what different bikes can do and pushing the limits, and I want more people to try it. And what better bike to do it on than an $8,000 motorcycle that you can just pick up and beat the crap out of. Now, there technically are 3 new models. One is the 450 Ibex, which I have an entire video coming out soon. I'm behind the times on that one. I need to get that out. Probably next week you'll see it. And the other one is the 450 CLC. This is their parallel twin cruiser that's built off the 449cc parallel twin that's in the NK and the 450 Ibex. In this iteration, it's making 40 horsepower and 30 foot-pounds of torque while weighing in at only 399 pounds. Best part is this one is another dirt cheap bike. It is $5,799. One of the things that I was worried about when I saw that they had dropped a cruiser was that it might go the Eliminator route and add a little too much retro future. This actually feels relatively retro. It actually looks a lot like the Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. Now, while we're talking about the Super Meteor, let's bring in the specs for some comparison. This has a 648cc parallel twin, making 47 horsepower and 38 foot-pounds of torque. The crazy thing is, this bike weighs in at 531 pounds, making it 132 pounds heavier than the CFMOTO. So the CFMOTO is going to absolutely walk away from the Royal Enfield, which honestly, when it comes to cruisers, that's not a huge deal. And the Super Meteor has a really great sound to it, but again, this is a cross-plane parallel twin in the CLC, so it should have that sort of nice V-twin grumble. It'll sound modern, obviously. It's not gonna be as low-strung as the Super Meteor, but I think with the looks and the sound and the price, it's really going to be a shot across the bow of the Royal Enfield, let's say. But now we gotta talk about the Eliminator, because what's weird is CFMOTO seems to have a hard-on for Kawasaki more than anybody else. Sure, they have KTM bikes that they've been reworking into their parallel twins. They've got the Ibex and the 800 NK. Those are licensed KTM motors, but it feels like in every way they can, CFMOTO is really taking shots at Kawasaki. So the Eliminator comes in with a 451cc parallel twin that is criminally embellished. They call it a 500, but it's really a 451cc. I don't know why they didn't just call it the Ninja 450. They called it the Ninja 500, and they just came up with 449 extra cc's. But I digress. The only claimed numbers I could find here for horsepower are 52 horsepower. I do not buy that at all. I really don't. That seems like another criminal embellishment, because the 47 horsepower range is typically what caps off the A2 in Europe. So why breach it by 5 horsepower? I don't know. It's making 31 foot-pounds of torque while weighing in at 388 pounds. Now, in terms of specs, if that 52 horsepower number is to be believed, then the Eliminator is technically lighter and makes more power out of a similar power plant than the 450 CLC. However, I think the CFMOTO is going to win just based on price, and also looks too. The Eliminator, $6,649, and it goes all the way up to north of $7,000. That puts the CLC at almost $1,000 cheaper. And I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier, but the Royal Enfield is $7 grand. So it's like $1,400, $1,300, $1,200 cheaper? I don't remember. Once again, CFMOTO is proving that they're here to stay. They're not just some flash in the pan. They're not gonna go away no matter how many people in the comment section want them to just disappear. They are here to stay. And they're really coming after a lot of the big names, and they're pushing some boundaries in some really unique ways. I think one of my favorite things that CFMOTO does, more so than any other company, is they know that people want cool looking motorcycles. So they're like, yeah, these winglets on the 675, they're stupid. They don't make any sense, but they look really cool. I mean, they make even less sense on the 450 SS, but it's got winglets and it looks awesome. At like 10 or 15 feet, it really does look like a much more expensive motorcycle. And I gotta believe that the 675 SS is going to be a phenomenal motorcycle. Now, as always, there is the reliability question mark, but I've been riding a lot of CFMOTOs lately. None of them have had any issues. I've never had the engine fall apart. I've never had it overheat. And Jake the Garden Snake currently has the 800 NK that I was riding around, and he's been beating the crap out of it even harder than I have. However, I really do want to test this out for myself. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna save up a little bit of cash between now and the 2025 model launch, and I'm gonna see if I can't buy myself one of those 675 SS's. Why that motorcycle versus the 800 NK? This one is CFMOTO's own engine. It's not a licensed engine from KTM, it's not from Triumph, this is CFMOTO's triple. I want to see what a season of beating it up on a racetrack does. And I want to see how long it lasts and how it services and all that stuff. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know down in the comments below, because I actually think it'd be really interesting to play with one of CFMOTO's own engines for a very long time. And you know, I could probably get a long-term loaner from CFMOTO, but I'd kind of like to just see what happens when it's my own cash on the line. Also, it's got a 2-year warranty, so if it explodes, I'll just get a new motor. Although, let's be real, it's more likely to explode if it's orange and says KTM on the side. Ask me how well, the current guy I'm talking to, he's got a blue KTM, and it's got the 900 in it, the 890 engine. And he's on his second engine, and he's getting ready to be on his third engine. I haven't heard any of that from CFMOTO. Admittedly, we have had a couple of smaller problems. The worst one that I've seen in the Discord, I can't remember exactly who it was, but they said they had a no start issue on one of the bikes they bought. If you've ridden a CFMOTO and you've had any issues, also let me know down in the comments below. And again, I know this is gonna make some people upset, but CFMOTO really is pushing the boundaries. They're giving people what they ask for. They're listening. People were like, oh, I want a lightweight adventure bike. Okay, here's the 450. I want a touring adventure bike, 800 NK, or Ibex. We want, you know, torquey naked bike, 800 NK. We want a cruiser, 450 CLC. We want a super sport. Okay, 675 SS, go have fun. They really do seem like they're listening to their audience. And it's weird to be in this particular timeline because I'm interacting with the people at CFMOTO and I'm riding their bikes and I'm seeing what people are saying and I'm watching the company react by the next model year. That's really cool. That's really cool. I don't think I've seen a company do that in recent memory. But with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.